What political parties are feeling, that we're now starting to get a pretty good picture of what their fortunes are like. And for the major parties, Samkele, it's not a good story to tell.
Yes, indeed. For the South Africa's three major political parties, it's not so much of a good story to tell. That's mainly the African National Congress, the Democratic Alliance and the Economic Freedom Fighters. But the Inkatha Freedom Party is smiling all the way to the negotiations of these coalition governments, and they are smiling all the way to councils in the northern part of KwaZulu-Natal, in the Zululand District Municipality and King Cetshwayo District Municipality, as well as they have swept those particular municipalities which they were governing, which others were hung, and they were in a coalition with the Democratic Alliance. But this time around, they've swept them all to themselves in the northern parts of KwaZulu-Natal, particularly if you were to compare the 2001 local government elections and you compare them to the 2006 ones, it would show you a picture of a different story to tell, where the Inkatha Freedom Party was still pretty much dominant in those municipalities, which they later on lost grip of those municipalities due to what many people have predicted as the Zuma factor. But you've got the Economic Freedom Fighters, whom were the kingmakers in the 2016 local government elections. This time around, they've seen minimal growth in their margins, and the Democratic Alliance has pretty much made it clear that they will not be entering into any form of relationship with the EFF, whether it be a coalition or a voting on an issue-to-issue basis with the DM. I'm going to bring in Mr. Marshall Dlamini, who is the Secretary General of the EFF. Mr. Dlamini, the results are trickling in. It looks as if there's not going to be an outright winner in Tshwane, Ekurhuleni and Johannesburg. What's the game plan for the EFF, knowing very well that there is also the Herman Mashaba factor now in two of these councils, in Tshwane and in Johannesburg?
Look, we're waiting for the results. We can only determine that once all the results are out. As you can see, the townships are only coming now. In all these municipalities in Johannesburg, they are coming in. So it is coming in. Alexander has not come in. Diepsloot has not come in. So even here, with the townships are coming in. So we are not panicking yet. We will wait until the results are done. And once are done, that's when the leadership of the EFF will sit and take a decision on what is the way forward.
At this point in time, when you look at the current electoral outcome, whom of these parties would you desirably like to work with? You've had a perfect working relationship in the past with Herman Mashaba whilst you are still with the Democratic Alliance. The Democratic Alliance this time around has pretty much made it clear that they want nothing to do with the Economic Freedom Fighters and the leadership of John Steenhuisen and Helen Zille.
No, we're a policy-driven organization. It's all about our policies and about our people. So it's not an emotional decision that we say we like this one. So the desirable organization for us is the one that is going to read and internalize the EFF manifesto as it is and be prepared to implement it. Because even our decision in 2016, it was not an emotional one. We spoke to D, we said we'll vote with the DA. We were not in coalition, but there were issues that we put, including insourcing, which they complied with it. When they started turning around and removing Mashaba and saying we don't agree with some of your policies, that was the end of the game. When they went to vote against us in Parliament, we went to remove Trolip and Nelson Mandela. So it's not an emotional one, because ours, it's a manifesto of the EFF that was drafted by our own voters, and we're not going to compromise on that. So anyone who's going to speak to us, they better start reading the EFF manifesto and make sure that whatever discussion we're going to have is going to be, we're going to implement the EFF manifesto. Other than that, the voters of South Africa, we accept any position where they put us, like we did in 2016. They said in Ekurhuleni, let us be opposition. We never had issues, we never compromised on anything. We're in opposition throughout, because we are building an organization and we're not rushing anywhere, because our organization must be owned by the people of South Africa. They must take it to their hearts and know that this is our organization. That's why it's not about leadership. It's about what the voters want. And for now, it's about the manifesto that they said to us, this is the manifesto, go to the ground with this manifesto, and they voted for this manifesto. Everything else that we said, going to deal with the issues of land, the issues of jobs, the issues of scrapping of tenders and all those things, they're going to form part of our whoever that we're going to speak to. So it's very easy to speak to us. Just go and read our manifesto from first page to the last page. Once you say, I agree with everything that is here, then we can come and talk. Other than that, we're not prepared to compromise or listen to anything. But as we're saying, we're not thinking of that because the results are not done yet. The townships are coming. We're still confident that we're going to still bring a late shocker like we did in 2016. No one expected us to be kingmakers in 2016. It was a late result that came in. Even in 2019, in some areas, no one expected us. Even now, we are not rushing because we know that only half of the country has been declared. So we still got half of the country to be declared. So we are still confident that the numbers are going to come through and come on our favor. And we're going to be majority, and then we'll take it from there.
Whose door will you be knocking at, and whose door have you already knocked at? Has anyone come knocking to the EFF's door already to speak coalitions?
No one has knocked on our door. We've knocked onto anyone's door. Well, we're not cowards. We can't do that. I mean, we still half of the country has not been declared. Why should we start panicking? Because we're still going to come out majority on some of the municipalities. So we've not spoken to anyone and no one has spoken to us until all the results have been declared. And only then the leadership of the EFF will sit and say, once all the results have been confirmed. So we're not panicking about anything. As things stand now, we're still confident. We're moving ahead. That's why we're here at the Results Center.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dlamini. That was Marshal Dlamini, the Secretary General of the Economic Freedom Fighters. Other political parties have left. The Democratic Alliance has one individual sitting at their table. The ANC has called it a day and decided to go home. The ATM, they are still here. They are still looking at their numbers. I saw a tweet by their head of policy, whom I'm going to go straight to him, saying that you cannot lose what you never had in the first place. Was that you, Mr. Manyi, conceding defeat there?
No. We're just being factual. You know, you must remember that the ATM, when it came into this empty-handed. But as we sit here now, ATM is sitting with 6 seats countrywide. That's not something to be sneered at. So we thank the people of South Africa. This is a vote of confidence in the ATM. This means that the message of ATM is beginning to filter through to the people. So we're very excited. The only problem that we've had is that the current ruling party has really destroyed democracy, in that people are beginning to say, we are all politicians, are all the same. Your promises are always broken, and they forget that they have not as yet entrusted ATM with the power to be able to rule over this country. So we're asking the people of South Africa to please give ATM a chance. Just borrow us those votes going forward. 2024 is coming, and we would want to see ATM being a leader in this country.
When you look at the results coming from the Eastern Cape, the people of the Eastern Cape seem to be loving the ANC government. When you look at the results that are coming out, you look at the Enoch Mgijima municipality, and you look at the Winnie Mandela municipality as well, where there have been allegations of fraud, corruption and money laundering. The people are just seemingly voting for them. The ATM has said that they would make a serious dent in the Eastern Cape. What went wrong?
The ATM is competing only with the ATM. And if you look at the ATM figures of 2019 and we look at the ATM figures of 2021, you will see a marked improvement. We're beginning to pick up a few seats even in the Eastern Cape in areas that we never even thought would pick up seats. So indeed, we're very confident. We think that our message in the Eastern Cape is very solid, and want to thank our spiritual father, Chief Apostle Nongunga. We think that his influence has also been very positive. He's a man of God. When he speaks, people listen to. We really want to thank him for having given the spiritual leadership within the ATM.
Thank you very much, Mr. Manye. That was Mr. Mzwanyele Manye of the ATM. I'm just going to try and squeeze in COPE there just to have a word from them and how they are faring and if they are actually coping with the results. Are you coping with the results that are coming out of these particular local government elections?
The Congress of the People will always cope. We are not going to disappear from the scene. If people think that we will disappear, they will make a very serious mistake. We are here to stay.
Thank you very much. That was the words of COPE saying that they are very much in the game, but the results are seemingly painting a different picture. But the most interesting results coming out thus far is Nelson Mandela Bay. It was predicted that it would be a bloodbath for the governing ANC there. They seem to be picking up steadily within that particular municipality, which was hung in the 2016 local government elections. Peter, as I hand it back to you.
Samkele, thanks very much indeed. And in many respects, Samkele is right at the center of it all, because that's where the parties are, trying to monitor their fortunes and seeing what's coming, and probably already starting to think about